We live, baby. What's up, JR? You doing all right over there?
Man, how
What's
is it
going
going?
on? Nah, going pretty good. Figure we'll come on here and talk a little fishing and talk about some upcoming events coming up here very soon. Tried to give away a 4 pass tickets or for a family pass to the show or the fishing show in up around Cleveland, and we didn't have, as far as I know, a single. There might have been one person that liked it. Let's
I
see
like
here.
that.
Oh, yeah. So here's the deal. There's 3 people who liked it. JR, which he's not going to be in Cleveland. Andrew Six and Eric McLaughlin. Sorry. If
In
either,
the arms of the angel.
okay, no. Anyway, if either of you guys feel like driving all the way to around Cleveland up there for this, I will definitely pass along your name and get you in for free. It's about 45. I think it's about a $50 prize pack. So Eric or Andrew Six, if either of you guys are going to be up around Cleveland, let me know. I didn't figure we'd get a giant amount of hits on it, seeing as it was in Cleveland. But without further ado, we are at a precipice of the way fishing changes forever, and we've been there for a while. But man, am I ever tired of talking about forward facing sonar.
Me
It
too.
is this, it is that, it sucks, it doesn't suck. Yeah, you're going to find co-anglers with live scope poles. You're going to have I just showed JR, if you guys saw Zaldane's latest YouTube video, he went through and like dug through every Elite Series boat that had a lot of electronics on there, and Brian Schmidt takes the cake by far. The dude has 4 Garmin. I assume they're probably 10s. I don't know. They look like 12s, but they got to be 10s. You got to figure. They look like 4 10s across the dash of his boat on the console, and he had 3 on the bow, and they were 10s and 12s. So this dude has 4 live scope transducers, which I assume are LSV 34s. So what I was just thinking a second ago. So how a live scope works is that you have a head unit of some sort, whether that be a Echo map or a GPS map or whatever you have, especially if we're talking about Garmin stuff. And then it goes to, I think it's an LSV 10 live scope sonar unit. And then from that sonar unit, there is a live scope transducer similar to the LSV 34. So these dudes that have 4 to 5 forward facing sonar transducers on their boat also have 4 to 5 of those LSV 10 or LVS 10s or whatever they are, black boxes, the sonar units on their boat, which is crazy. And I agree with Strick here. He said people need to quit crying and serious stay. I have live scope now, right? I've never been on that situation where I can be on I was on the fence of, well, it is what it is. I can't afford it. With winning the Yolatech Video of the Year, I just splurged and I bought it. First off, I will tell you that I knew going in what it was all about because I'd used it before, but I think that people have this misnomer about how it works, and it, like JR and I spent the better part of 6 hours this Sunday at Grayson trying to live scope fish to no avail. Like, we caught 0 fish, not even one. We didn't catch a crappie, we didn't catch a bluegill, we didn't catch a carp, we didn't catch, the only thing that I could say that we actually saw that was a solid size fish was something that was underneath a rock. And what I mean by something, it was giant. We're talking probably 4 foot long. It had to have been a carp, catfish, something, whatever it was massive. Like, you could literally tell it was a fish on the live scope. But I Damiki rigged. We threw crankbaits at them, jerk baits. First off, the water was super muddy, so that's not ideal conditions for live scope by any means. But so I think a lot of people have the thing in the back of their head that it's like shooting fish in a barrel, or if you have live scope, you can't be beat because you have to be able to catch them, and that's just not the case.
Well, you're talking about a 2D thing when you're looking down, and this is the same thing for me at work all the time. We're looking at a 3D object on a 2D screen. So very different. You don't know, whereabout they're at, but you don't know exactly where they're at.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's pretty crazy. I've been seeing a lot of articles and stuff about it, and I really have to think about where bass fishing was when I started, and would I still be doing it if I started today in today's technology? My idea of bass fishing still to this day is grabbing a spinner bait, grabbing a crankbait, topwater bait, especially if it's in the summertime, and beating the banks up, man. And that gets me beat more often than not in tournaments because now I have electronics so I can start fishing offshore. But what is there a point where fish become so reactive to forward facing sonar that they become tougher to catch because of forward facing sonar? I saw a video that somebody sent me, like a DM on Facebook, where a guy was fishing down this reed patch and a fish literally jumps out of the water into his boat.
Oh, I saw that.
And what's so crazy about that video, though, if you haven't seen it, he's sitting there talking to us on his phone to what I assume is probably his wife or his boss, because he never once breaks character. He's sitting there talking to us, the fish jumps in and he's trying to catch the fish, kicks a rod into the lake, and then and the fish goes out and he's just sitting there talking like, hey man, and you can't really hear what he's saying, but like,
yeah, the TPS reports.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's not good. But does it come full circle like that? I don't know, but it's crazy. So Aaron Strickland and I were talking about it today, and it is coming full circle. I just now finished up guitar number 13. If you guys don't know, I build guitars with students. And I built a guitar to raffle off for the betterment of my guitar building program. And I've been working on it for a few months, and it's been taking up a lot of my time. But it is now finished. First and foremost, I am glad to say that guitar has been sold for $1,000, which is amazing. So that's $1,000 that we didn't have. But on top of that, this has nothing to do with fishing. But this is pretty exciting news for me and the folks here in Dawson Bryant High School land here in Lawrence County, Ohio. I just received word today about 4 o'clock or 3:30 when I was headed to Strick's house that I secured a $2.1 million grant for my classroom at Dawson Bryant High School, which, like, it's game changing for me. And I feel like I can use that word game changer in that situation because we're building we're building a 3,500 square foot add-on addition to my to my lab right now, putting over $1 million worth of advanced manufacturing tools in there, CNC lathes, fifth axis CNC, a tool. It's going to be a fiber laser that will cut steel and things, as well as a 4x8 CNC router and several other things. So the reason that ties into fishing a little bit is that I think that one of the main products that we make within our lab, and I'm going to teach kids how to make them, is going to be graph mounts. So, it's coming full circle, but I'm super impressed with, one, I'm a high school teacher, and I was able to apparently sway enough opinions to the people at the Ohio Department of Education that they either, one, felt sorry for me, or two, I really have a good thing going on. So either way, I'll take it. So $2.1 million headed to Dawson Bryant High School in the way of March 5th, 2024. We're going to start breaking ground. We're going to call some people tomorrow, get some engineers in there, look at, getting this building underway. So I'm pretty pumped about that. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, I think the forward-facing sonar thing kind of gets beat up. Bass and Passion. What's up, buddy? How's things up your way? Tony Grubbs, what's up, man? Tony, am I mistaken? Are you up around Cleveland or somewhere up that way? Maybe I'm wrong. Looking for a couple people up around. It is actually at the Metroplex Expo Center in Girard, Ohio. This weekend, they're having a Great Lakes Fishing Expo. I have 4 general admission tickets. They are $12 a piece that I can give away to somebody that's going to be up around that area. I love to give them to somebody. Again, that's compliments of Jesse French. He's part of that whole deal, putting that thing on. So if anybody right now is watching, drop a comment below if you live around Girard or feel like driving up there. It is a weekend pass for all I know. 4 of them. Get your whole family in, your whole family. But one of the things that man, like, how come we as fishermen are making fishing more complicated than it already is?
Albany, Ohio.
So, like, seriously, I used to be able to take a 3-aught, probably more like a 2-aught Gamakatsu offset shank worm hook, like a 16th ounce lead worm sinker. Didn't even peg that thing. It was straight on my line, tied probably with a granny knot on a 2-aught Gamakatsu offset shank worm hook. Throw a 4-inch red shad zoom U-tail and just absolutely murder bass. I'm talking about catch fish after fish after fish. Now, this is me fishing farm ponds, fishing straight mine ponds, and so nowadays I look at my boat. Right now, my boat's down. Obviously, got an update on that. We're going to get a prop shaft put in that. Thanks to Strick there. He's going to help me out. We're going to get that in here in the next few days. But Strickland, wow, totally different squirrel situation here. JR is looking for a 24-pitch Fury as a spare. So if you got one, let me know. Or you know somebody who does. I know you got one down there, but I don't know if you want to sell it or if you got any. But anyway, so
we need a backup.
Yeah, he's headed down to Texas. But the thing about it is, like, now I look at my boat, right? So my boat is, I'm happy with my boat, other than when I do dumb stuff to it and run into rocks and then prop shafts and things. But it's a good boat. It's a 2006. It's hard to believe that 2 years from now my boat will be 20 years old, which is crazy. And I'm starting to see those 20-year-old kind of woes. I have to replace one of the. So I mean, I feel like Stratus boats were way ahead of their time. Like, in 2006. They had, padded decks. They had the recessed trolling motors. They had, my boat has a hydraulic jack plate from 2006. There's a lot of stuff there that was, that goes on. And one of the things that I really am impressed with is the trailer. The trailer has a swingway tongue, and it also has 4 calipers on the trailer. So it has 4 brake calipers on it, which are good and bad. Great stopping power. But I have 4 calipers that I know is going to go bad eventually. One of them blew the seal there the other day when I was coming home from North Carolina. Have to replace that. It's like $100. So, I'm okay with doing stuff like that. But above that, like I said, you guys have seen my YouTube videos. In the last year, I've spent $14,000 in upgrades on my boat to catch fish. Probably no better than I did when I didn't have that stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. That's one of the all of the things. If you get the most expensive rod and the most expensive technology, will it make you catch more fish, or will it just make you more confident, more comfortable?
So that's another great point is, like, I have a lot of high-end rod and reels in my boat, but I will tell you, I don't think a rod will allow you to catch more fish per se. I mean, they're more sensitive. You're going to feel more bites. But I tell you one thing, a really good light rod does for me. It makes me want to pick it up and keep it in my hands more often. Like, for example, if I had a 7'5" heavy SLX rod in my boat for a while to throw big swim baits on. I rarely threw those big swim baits because I would pick up that thing. I had like a Corrado 300 on that thing, on that 7'5" heavy SLX, which is not the lightest rod on the planet anyway. And I'd pick that thing up, and it would be like I was freaking winching a daggone barge rope out there with this big giant, like, I don't know, tree trunk. And then I could pick up an 894 G Loomis NRX Plus, which is roughly the same size, and it weigh more than half or less than half of what that thing weighs. Mm-hmm. So, sensitivity is one thing, but being able to fish them or wanting to fish them is another thing.
Yeah, it's once you go to that light stuff, it's hard not to. It's like we went to Grayson Sunday, and I had a hard time picking up any of my older rods because the newer ones are just so much lighter, more comfortable. You know, one thing I will take away from that, I don't know if you guys, and I don't feel like anybody talks about the Garmin Force trolling motor. I've been really impressed with that thing so far. Like comparing the Garmin Force to my old Ultrex, not the brushless version, it is so much smoother. I've been really pleased so far because I was a little bit nervous about going all Garmin just because I wasn't familiar with it.
Yeah, so I've been in his boat twice now, once for only about an hour. Well, first off, we have the bird broken in now. We have 2.5 hours on that thing. It's still not fully broke in. You got to do a few things for the first 8 hours of it. But I think it's pretty minuscule stuff. You just can't like run it wide open more than like 5 minutes at a time for the first 8 hours. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. But I like it. It has one thing that I it's something I would have to get used to, is the power button, we'll call it a potentiometer because that's what it is. The thing that you turn usually with your feet, it clicks. That's the only thing I don't like about it is that it's not smooth. It clicks to get to the next. Yeah. So, but yeah, there you go, Tony. 25 Tempest. I'd say shoot him a message, see what you got there. But anyway, so it's a really nice trolling motor. I again just upgraded to the new Quest Ultrex. So JR had the original Ultrex. Kyle's got the original Ultrex. My buddy Dusty's got the original Ultrex. And when I say original, we're talking about Gen 1, not the brushless ones. I'm sure there's been upgrades of those. But one of the things that I will tell you that is so crazy about my trolling motor is the fact that brushless motor is so much more powerful. And just like the Garmin, it's brushless now. Like a brushless trolling motor compared to just a standard trolling motor that has brushes is crazy difference. Like I said there the other day, if you guys don't know, I have obviously a 21-foot boat, 250 engine, 4 lead acid batteries that are they're Odyssey batteries. They're like 73 pounds a piece. Like they're not light batteries, they're not lithiums. Plus that trolling motor, plus 2 15-inch Solix, and now a 12-inch Garmin, plus all of my stuff that's in there. And me and JR were out at Grayson the other day. It's been about a month ago, and I was seeing 4.2 miles per hour on my boat in slick calm water. And I had a Fortrex before that, so it's obviously a huge upgrade. So you're not comparing apples to apples. But I've seen online where people are saying that they've upgraded from the original Ultrex to the Quest, and they're getting 2+ miles per hour faster on their trolling motor. Now, is that going to help you in a tournament? Who knows? Like, I'm not KVD. I'm not turning that thing up on 10, and I'm not running down the bank throwing at 1.5 as fast as I can throw it. But one time that I could see that happening, helping you if you were in a trolling motor only tournament. But 2, having that torque and being able to sustain your spot on spot lock in really high current areas like the Detroit River, St. Clair River, Lake Erie in some spots, and being able to sustain that all day long. And another thing that I was super impressed with it about is that last 2 weekends ago, again, obviously when I screwed my boat up, I knew that my prop was jacked up, so I wasn't running my boat super hard. I was just getting up on pad. Ended up spinning the hub, which obviously it should have spun like when I hit the stuff. Like I hit it pretty hard. Just lucky that nothing else bad has happened to it. But it did end up spinning. So I was about 2 miles from the boat ramp. I just put the trolling motor down, sat in the seat, and used the trolling motor remote while I ate snacks on the way home. But we were running at 4.1 miles per hour we were going against the wind with me and Misty in the boat. I got back to the boat ramp quicker than I could have if I would have idled back there.
Yeah, these new trolling motors are just awesome.
I know I sent you that email, or sent you that text the other day. when I get this prop shaft out of here, again, like I said, it's bent 30 thousandths of an inch one way at some point. I like to bring this thing over to you guys, pay you guys to try to straighten it. I'll pay you to even try to do it. If you guys can't do it, I understand. It may not be something that's feasible. But I was talking to Aaron earlier about this, and he kind of agreed is that these Evinrude parts are not being made anymore. If you're buying aftermarket stuff that are being made, could be made in China, could be made. They may not be made to the highest tolerances that I have of these other parts that are BRP. So I would love to attempt to try to straighten that prop shaft. The tolerance for the straightness of that is from 0.003 to 0.007. So you're looking at about 7 thousandths of an inch, which is minuscule. There's no way that I'm going to take a hammer and an anvil and beat that thing straight. You're going to need some presses and things like you have. So, which, by the way, we're talking about hydraulics services and supply over in Ashland. If I mentioned this on the show before, but if you're in my area and your hydraulics on your boat, like if you have a hydraulic jack plate or hydraulic steering, if any of that stuff starts leaking, give them a call. Don't expect the treatment that I got. Obviously, I got the VIP treatment. I was very lucky, but I went there. They had my stuff tore apart and put back together within a couple hours. And again, so don't expect that, but they can get you set up. And I would imagine anything down to like tilt trim, anything like that's hydraulic. So if you got anything leaking like that, get a hold of those guys. They'll be able to help you out. They were super nice. Larry is super knowledgeable. They got a giant shop. They'll get you fixed up within the weekend, I would say, or within the week for sure.
That's something I really don't know a lot about is props, Tyler. I don't know if we can kind of segue into that. I was talking to Tyler Hensley just now from Malone's, and he was saying that the Mercury Black Max is what comes on the Phoenix, and that's a aluminum prop. And I know a lot of people are now going to steel as opposed to aluminum. I don't know what your guys' experience is. I don't have a clue. So enlighten me if you guys have any opinions on it.
You talking about your boat?
Yeah, he said it's a Black Max.
I don't think that's true. It may come on at standard, but yours has a Fury on it. I'm almost positive.
Yeah, he said Black Max, and because I thought it was.
You talk about Tyler Sturgill or
Hensley? I wonder if he's talking about his boat. Because this doesn't look anything like my prop.
Yeah, no, yeah, Marty, I'll be there. Myself and Kyle, we're gonna fish out Kyle's boat. Which, by the way, we could talk about that really quick, and then we'll jump back into the prop thing. So, what's up, Michael? Did you catch him out there at Grayson the other day? Because we sure didn't. So the Lewis County Lunkers is having their very first tournament of the year this Saturday, Sunday, and it costs $50 a person to enter. That will get you in on everything, including their dues for the year, so you can actually fish any other time with that. It used to be that they would let people fish kind of the first one to get your feet wet without being a member, but I think it kind of bite them in the rear end because people are just coming to fishing the ones they wanted to instead of helping the club out, which is whatever. So it's $50 a person. You can actually fish 3 people in a boat with Lewis County Lunkers. So it's actually way different than anything that you're ever going to fish. So like if your wife wants to go and your buddy also wants to go, here's your chance. So that is this weekend, and we are going to try to catch them. Yeah, Michael, it was tough. We live scope most of the day. All right, Brandon. So run that by me again. So you don't have to pay for the membership. It says $50 per person, or what? I misunderstood that. So clarify that so we can get going on with that. That's this weekend. I enjoy it. I invite you to come out. Great bunch of guys who like to just go out there, catch fish. There's no drama. You're going to be fishing against people in $5,000 boats. You're going to be out there fishing against people in $100,000 boats. But it doesn't matter what you have. Run what you brung, and you go out there and you go fishing. At the end of the day, we're all buddies and we have fun and we like to, cut up and see who the better angler is. That's it. That's what's so cool about it. We are kind of talking about props. I am no prop expert. One thing that I will tell you, the more blades you put on a prop, the better bow lift you're going to get, and the better you could stay on plane at low RPMs. Aaron and I were talking about Mercury makes a prop called the High Five. It's a 5-blade prop. You're not going to get super high end, high speed out of those 5-blade or even 4-blade. Really, 4-blade is kind of a happy medium. But what you can do is you can stay on pad with less RPMs. So the reason that's really handy is for big water lakes like Lake Erie, Lake St. Clair, places like that, where a 4-blade prop is going to keep you on pad at a lower RPM. So you're not having to run 35, 40 mile an hour in 4-footers, right? You can stay on pad and hit the waves and not go through them or really beat yourself up. And again, the more blades you put on a prop, the easier it is to stay on pad at lower RPMs. Now, it comes down to the situation as far as, again, this is my amateur opinion of props. I'm no Mark Croxton. If you really want to get into it, maybe we can get Mark in on the show. He's from Indiana. He's like all things, all-knowing prop guy. But, the blades have a pitch to them, and they also have cup to them, and they also have a diameter of the blades. Like, for example, I believe my 27 pitch, I have a turbo 27 pitch turbo, but I think it's a 14.5-inch diameter, which is a giant wheel. It's crazy to think that my boat will turn that thing, but it runs it up close to the rev limiter. My rev limiter on my boat's like 5,900 RPM, and my boat will do about 5850 with that 27 pitch. The higher the pitch, the more water it's going to move. Also going to have more horsepower to get it turning. For example, my 28 pitch takes forever to get my boat on plane. But when I get on the plane, if I'm out on the river and I have 28 pitch on there, and I feel like you can check your speed with the sundial to get on pad. But when that thing gets on pad, man, you better watch out because it will freaking scream. Like, it's the fastest I've ever had my boat in my life. 21-foot boat, again, with a 250, 28 pitch raker. That is just straight out the box, old school raker. The Raker 1, it's the old school raker. It's not the Raker 2. But with that prop on there, with zero, I think they call them, it's not cavitation holes. They are the holes that go in the side of the prop, which allow, so again, my very limited knowledge on that is that allows exhaust gas to come out of those holes, breaking the surface or the water tension of around your prop, allowing your prop to spin easier because there's air involved there and not just water. Now, with none of those things in there, I think they're like called SVS plugs or something. I'm going to look on Mark's page here because he has it on there. But my boat was it's 75 miles an hour. It's the fastest I ever had my boat, and it was there. It was with that 28 pitch. So it's called a PVS hole, whatever that is. PVS holes. I'm sure that Aaron or somebody will.
Looking on some of the Phoenix website and a few other, it looks like most of them are going to come with Fury 4 24 pitch. It looks like
Fury 3 should be.
There's Fury 3, Fury 4, Fury. Yeah.
So those are blades. I guarantee yours has a 3-blade on it. But as somebody mentioned here, I think it's Bass and Passion mentioned up there. So be careful. Furies are known for throwing ears, and that is 100% true. I know of, let's see, Dusty Smith. Luckily, knock on wood, he hasn't had any trouble. But he had a buddy this past weekend, or when I was down there, called him. And he's like, "Oh, I threw an ear on my prop." I was like, betcha it was a Fury. And he's like, was it a Fury? He was like, yeah, it's a Fury. Well, Kyle had a Fury, threw an ear on it. I don't know if you guys saw the video. I don't know if it was, I think it was Brian New or somebody this past weekend threw a Fury blade like 53 feet in the air or something like crazy when they were running. Yeah, so that it allows exhaust gas to come out around the prop, I think, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Strickland. I think that's what that's for. That's pretty good with a 115, man. That's awesome. You know, and that's the deal. Like, I've considered myself to have a high performance bass boat. It's not like Aaron Strickland's Black Widow Bullet with a 300 on it. You know, I mean, this thing's not running 100-mile-an-hour plus. You know, 70 miles per hour scares me on the water, especially being behind the wheel. If I'm by myself, I will push my boat as hard as it'll go. I very rarely, especially in the last 5 years, will run my boat 100% wide open with somebody else with me. There's just so much that can go wrong. It's crazy. Like, you know, here's the thing, and I was talking to JR about it the other day. It's like, God forbid you're running down the lake at 70 plus miles an hour and your lower unit lock up or something crazy happen that you lose 100% of all thrust. Like, that's worst case scenario in my opinion, because man, I don't know if you've ever done this. I done it one time and lucky enough to get back in the throttle with a hot foot. I had my foot in the hot foot and I was wearing flip-flops, which I hardly ever do anymore because of this. My foot slipped out of the hot foot my foot slipped out of my flip-flop and it shot the throttle back to zero immediately, like 65 miles per hour. And you are immediately from this to sideways in like a split second. You know, and luckily I was able to get back in it with my foot, tore my foot all to crap. But like, I feel like that, you know, that's worst case scenario for me in that case. So that, you know, I guess maybe it's just because I'm getting old and scared, or old and maybe I'm getting a little bit more wise in my day and I got too much to live for. But, you know, if I'm by myself, a 70 plus mile an hour run down the Ohio River is good for the soul a lot of times.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely the fastest I've ever been capable of going in a boat, and I don't know. I'm not too worried about getting that extra 2 miles per hour or what have you. I just, you know, I want to be able to be safe and be fishing for a long time.
Yeah, so JR and I obviously we couldn't run his boat up to full speed, and we were on Grayson, so there's not a whole lot of places you can get up to full speed. But I saw we had his boat up to 69 miles per hour the other day. So it's probably a 75 mile an hour boat on the river, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I didn't get the trim up nearly to how high I can go. So that was plenty fast for me.
Yeah. Strickland once told me that if you're throwing roost higher than the top of your motor cowling, you're losing horsepower. Just so you remember that. I'm sure that's probably different on different props if you're running like a chopper or whatever. But pretty cool, something I've thought about. And Tennessee Bassmaster there is telling everybody to wear their kill switches. I agree with that. And I think I'm going to, and it sucks to say because I got so much money wrapped up in inflatable life jackets. I got like $400 wrapped up in inflatables in my boat. But I am literally, seriously thinking about scrapping those things and buying some regular PFDs, like some neoprene stuff that's comfortable to wear. The problem is that I see there is that the reason that I have the inflatables to start with is because of storage area in my boat. 2 of those regular life jackets take up a decent amount of room, which, you know, what's your life worth? I get it, you know, but I still probably may wear my inflatable as a co-angler just for the simple fact it's going to be easier for me to pack. But somebody messaged or commented on my YouTube video the other day and said that, you know, their inflatable blows up if their compartments are damp, and mine's done that. And that's kind of frustrating because it's $100 usually a piece to rearm them. Yeah, Fred, it's a little leery, but I will say, man, I'm super proud of that 201 Pro that I have, because once you get it up there on pad, it's pretty much on rails. I would never do this, but at 65 to 70 miles per hour, you could be hands free. I would not do that, obviously, for many reasons, but it's I could do that. So looking back, doesn't really scare me. If I'm on a small lake, I would never do that, obviously, for risk of killing somebody coming around a bend. But if I'm on the Ohio River and I can see miles ahead of me, I don't care to look back and see what's up. It's it's, I don't know. That's where I think bass fishing has gone wrong in the last 20 years, is that one, bass fishing, if you want to try to keep up with the Joneses, has now become a rich man's game. And I know full well about that. I am not a rich person by any means. I have robbed Peter to pay Paul. I've played music in venues, and I've done this, and I've whatever I could do to make a buck, to turn a dollar to buy the stuff for my boat. But when I was put myself in this situation 20 years ago, just starting out as a high school teacher, making like $32,000 a year and being glad to do it, I literally, it's crazy to think about. Like, I have half of my first year as a teacher's salary wrapped up in just upgrades in my boat in a year. That is crazy. Like, it's nuts. What's up, Chuck Dotson? See you out there, buddy. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that How Dangerous post. I was wondering where all those memes were coming from. So the memes are coming from that video, apparently.
Right, yeah. So
People wearing VR goggles and like driving.
So yeah, I mean, I don't see them driving with those things, but that's definitely the future. Why not, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you one thing, Brandon, I hope you're right, buddy. If it's cold, muddy, tough, you're in trouble, because I've been known to sack them up out there when it's cold, muddy, tough. Me and Kyle were just talking about it. We've also been known to blank out there when it's cold, muddy, tough. But we did sack up 21 pounds at Grayson. That's a pretty good sack. Yeah, man. Like I said, I can't say anything bad about my boat. I like the way it looks. It still looks like a newer style bass boat. Like, I can look at older stuff, like older Skeeters that are in the same era as mine, like 20-year-old boats, and I can definitely tell they're 20-year-old boats. And maybe people see that about my boat too, but I just feel like that, they were designed a little differently back then, which is weird. I mean, of course, you got the Gary Klaus, who is
Camus.
He is he was the CEO of Stratus Boats, and he is now
he's the Phoenix guy.
Yeah, he's now the CEO of Phoenix. So go a little bit there. 49 degrees. Marty, you follow me, but the only thing you're gonna do is laugh, because I don't know. Me and Kyle will be staring at a screen all day, I'm sure. Who knows? I will say, one of the toughest things to do as far as forward-facing sonar is find fish, but two, find fish within muddy water, dude. Anything that muddy water, it is so tough, man. And I know the water out there at Grayson, after it rained like a cow peeing on a flat rock all day here, it's not going to get any better as far as water quality. There'll be like 65 boats in Deer Creek. But it's so crazy. Like, one, you just think, and I had this mentality for a while too, is like, I got live scope, I'm gonna go out here and just smash these fish because I'm gonna be able to see them. Not the truth. It's just not.
There were so many fish that we saw. I mean, who knows what they were, but Lord, they weren't biting, whatever they were.
No, Brandon, this past weekend, bud. I think I saw a couple of Lewis County guys out there. I know I saw Charlie Hewitt out there running around, and I saw somebody else. I can't think of his name right now. He has like the Green Ranger with a Merc on it, 225. I think it's a Ranger. I think it is. I don't know what I'll be throwing. I don't know. I would love to go out and catch them live scoping, but really tough. I'll be power fishing probably, hopefully to rattle one's cage to get them to bite it. That'll be about it. Be out there throwing
minnows out.
Yeah, that might. Well, if you were fishing Toledo Bend the other day, you had plenty of minnows because that's what everybody caught them on.
Oh Lord.
That's the first thing that I noticed that today was like they put out the winning baits, and the first all 10 of the top 10 were like holding up these little like forward facing sonar minnows. All 10 of them.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm lying to you. One guy had 2 jerk baits. I was like,
oh yeah, that's true.
My man. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
What's his face had a jerk bait on there? I think he had the provoke, as I recall.
Oh, you're talking about
A Milliken.
A Milliken. Yeah. I think he's going to really disrupt MLS or BASS as the Elite Series this year. And here's why. And I didn't think about it until I think it was Kevin Baxter or Jared Caesar or somebody commented the other day. And it really didn't hit me until then. It's easy fishing for him. It's not easy to catch fish, but his money is coming from YouTube, right? So his money comes in either way, whether he goes out there and catches 70 pounds or he doesn't. He's still probably going to make the same amount of money that week as he did if he would have won it. If he would have won it, that's just kind of icing on the cake, and that money there comes into fruition for him. But I feel like that he's just kind of like has like the ultimate fishing experience because he doesn't have to catch them to make money, and I think that would be excellent. Like if you can pull that off, and like everybody called him this big YouTube goon, but he's showing people that that's not the case. Obviously won an open last year, finished in the top 10 on this very first Elite Series event. Like I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with over the years to come. Like, I think I enjoy watching him fish, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he just doesn't. It's not that he doesn't care to win; he wants to win, but his money comes in either way.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with how well he did. I mean, and it wasn't too exciting to watch, that's for sure. I was just flipping through. Jordan Lee came in 9th, which I thought that was pretty cool because he's made this transition. So I thought that was a pretty good showing for him. But I mean, Milliken could very well have pulled out and won the whole thing. So, I mean, what did he end up? He ended up in 5th. I mean, he's got, here's this picture of him holding that provoke, the small jerkbait that they have, and then their that juggalo minnow or whatever. So, I mean, he knows how to catch them. There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, I was really impressed.
Yeah, I agree with it. So I like I said, I'm interested to see what he has coming up. That's right. So Ricky, I hope you're right, man. Like I said, I'm pulling for him. Obviously, got to pull for our little buddy down the road here. Hopefully, he goes out there and smashes them too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's crazy, man. Like that.
Matt Messer.
What is it?
Matt Messer, so you're talking about?
Yeah, Messer. But just look at the crazy amount of hammers that are in this area. Like just so, within 100 miles in either direction, you have Whitney Stevens, who has been in the Classic twice, I think. Don't quote me on that. Maybe 3 times. And then you got Matt. Just like there's people, and then Chris Malone winning the Toyota Series championship. There's like it's crazy that we had a conversation down at Malone's the other day about it. It's like, how come so many people within our random small area love to fish, because it's not like we live in the Gunnersvilles or the Lake St. Clairs or the Tohos or these places that are just absolute hammer holes. These are just giant fish factories. Like, I go out on the Ohio River and I catch 3 12-inch fish and I feel like I've just had a day. I love it, man. I go out there freaking, I had a conversation with my kids today in class, and I was telling them that when I got my boat going, that I would be fishing in the evening a lot after school. And they're like, how can you get out of school and go fishing so quickly? Because we don't get out of school till 3:00. I was like, I'll be on the water by 3:30. And they're like, how's that happen? I was like, I just got to go home and hook my boat up and go to the river. I said, I live 3 minutes from it, and I normally just fish in my work clothes, so I'm not changing. I'm just out there chunking and winding in like a button-down shirt and some khakis. I love it, but why do so many people in our area fish? It's crazy. It's like you could go to the tackle box when it was open on last weekend, to be honest with you, every year other than this year, and you would see 1,000 people through the doors, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think it's probably it's so tough here that people learn different types of baits, how to fish, and they know how to adapt to difficult environments better, would be my theory.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool. We'll just have to see. I think it's going to be like, I don't know. I think it's going to be, it's anybody's game at this point.
Well, it's such a part of our culture too. I mean, I think about growing up in Southern West Virginia, and you growing up in Southern Ohio, and it is something that's ingrained in our DNA. Fishing, hunting, trapping, whatever, and it's something that we get at such a young age. And I mean, a lot of the South is like that in general, but it gets people a lot of time on the water.
Yep. One thing that I did see is that one of my favorite baits that have been kind of like in the back end of things is now coming out. The Jackall Revoltage drift fry, man, is a bad mofo when it comes to drop shotting and now the forward facing sonar. It is a solid looking bait. So if you haven't checked that out, you should do so. Again, it's the Jackall Revoltage drift fry.
Does that have different technologies in it that make it really expensive, or?
No, that's just Shimano. You get. Have you not seen the Revoltage?
That's the one with the lip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There we go. This is something else we can mention. Tuesday night tournaments, Coal Grove boat ramp in April. That is a fun time, man. You can rock and roll down there, hop in, go fish, and it's always good. They're usually fairly cheap. Probably looking at $25 a boat. I don't quote me on that, but that's what they used to be. It's probably might get a little inflation, a little Bidenomics in there, but it's always a good time. It's only for a few hours. Like, I think they start like 5 to 9 or something. There we go. $40. $40 a boat. Not too shabby. Still for nights fishing, can't beat that. I can't believe you can have that much fun for that little bit of money. To be honest with you. Well, that being said, guys, we're about that 50-minute mark. Got a couple of things coming up in the near future. Again, I am setting up some dates with some local game warden-esque people. And again, this is not going to be like a hammer fest where we go in there and we just hammer them and tell them how crappy of a job they're doing. That's not it at all. I would love to pick their brain to see how we, as anglers in the area, can help them better our chances of catching fish in our ponds, whether that be raise some money to stock some fish, find out why they don't stock, like game fish that I've seen. They always stock trout, which I get why they stock trout, but I don't know why they don't stock multiple species, to be honest with you. So we're going to try to get in there and try to get Darren Abbott and a few other people in Kentucky, Ohio, maybe West Virginia, if we can find some people there to kind of round out the people that are here close to us. So we will be back here, same bat time, same bat channel. If you guys are interested in fishing with Lewis County, hop on out to Grayson this Saturday and it will be so it isn't open. So kind of what Jared was saying, it's $50 a person to fish. If you want to join their club, it's $25 on top of that. And I think don't quote me on that, but he'll be able to tell me more on it if he's still on there. I would say if you join their club, is going to be the time that you have the ability. They do like a big fish of the year. They do a big bag of the year. Matter of fact, I won the big bag of the year with like 14 pounds at Yatesville last year. So, oh, sweet, man. I'll have to check that out for sure. Yep, I agree. They have a lot of some pretty cool lakes there, but we're going to have a lot of stuff coming up for you. It's kind of a lull time right now. We got some new fishing shows coming out here. Mothman. Yeah. The old Silver Bridge.
God's country.
Almost heaven. West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the stuff where it's talking about how they think that song is about Western Virginia?
Oh, it is. The Shenandoah Mountains, not in West Virginia.
Yeah. Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yeah.
Mostly in Virginia.
Oh, Shenandoah River, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in Western Virginia, but
What's up, Tyler? I would say you probably are, man. Let's see. If you get in on membership, big fish, big bag, angle of the year points, and can make the fish off at the end of the year. So there you go. $50 a person will get you in the tournament. $75 a person will get you access to. There'll be a big fish of that tournament, and that $50 will get you in on that. But a big fish, you go out there and catch an 8-pounder, and you could win, a couple $100 from the end of it. So, it is worth it. Help them out, good guys. But we'll be out there. Kyle and I will be out there this Saturday. It looks like the weather's going to be fantabulous. It's going to be like 70s this weekend. So go out there and get sunburned and throw blade baits and chatterbaits and crankbaits in a 1.5 inch visibility water. I can't wait.
Sonny, you get that manner and dangle it in front of them fish's heads.
That's right. So one of the things
I love Summersville, Tennessee Bassmasters. Summersville's probably my favorite of all of the West Virginia lakes.
That's right. So we forgot to do the intro on the way in tonight, so we're going to do the intro on the way out. So this will be an outro. If you guys can, get out there and lean on. We'll see you next time on Another Line. That's a life of a fisherman you wouldn't understand. Something you can't feel on dry land. Gotta get your arms way up in a cave and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. Gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loomis trying to bet you like what you feel. Step on a deck, give it a whirl. Hello, welcome.